It all started on a Saturday when Valery Legasov received the first call from Pripyat. The date was April 26, 1986. The Chernobyl nuclear power plant near the town of Pripyat in the Ukrainian SSR had just suffered a catastrophic power excursion, but what filtered through the static of those early reports was something neither charts nor physics could explain. Instruments registering a pattern phase shift in gamma flux, pilots and helicopters reporting movement above Reactor 4 that meant light and gas. Legasov, a chemist from the Kurchatov Institute of Moscow, arrived under orders from the Council of Ministers. He found the plant manager, Viktor Flamanov, and the deputy chief engineer, Anatoly Dyatlov, pale and exhausted. The control room logbook spoke of the test run, operator errors, familiar human errors of any industrial accident. But outside, the engineers were telling a different story. A sheen like mercury lay over the shattered core. Fragments of vitrified graphite emitted faint filtering pulses, microseconds of structured energy that resembled encoded flashes more than radiation. By noon, a small secret team assembled under the watchful eyes of Boris Sheen, OGB. Legasov initiated an ad hoc program to document anomalies. He dispatched Lunokhod-style telerobots adapted from Soviet lunar technology with closed mouth. The machines relayed images that would later be removed from official files. Crystalline patterns that moved, rearranged, and with memory channels in form that glowed with a soft blue wavelength. When the robot's cameras received those pulses, their clocks slipped. Timestamps flickered forward and back by fractions of a second, then by minutes. The documentary record that Legasov began to compile reads like a rational scientist grappling with an unfolding impossibility. Instruments on the riverbank recorded bioluminescent blooms upstream, organisms whose enzymes oscillated in sync with the reactor's residual phase. Pilots described odd auditory phenomena, a hum at the rotor frequency overlaid with a deeper, slow rhythm. Civilians in Pripyat later testified to seeing fragments of futures reflected in raindrops, a playground frozen mid-swing, a child running toward a building that would not exist for hours yet. The working hypothesis, sketched in hastily written memos, called it a resonance scene, an interaction between the graphite moderator's geometry and a transient plasma state that created standing modes not only in neutrons and photons, but in the structure of local causality. It was a radical, almost heretical framing for Soviet physics, but the data were stubborn. Telemetry from the Lunokhod modification showed phase-locked patterns identical to those recorded by a seismometer in Kiev minutes earlier, as though the event had left a temporally coherent imprint across the grid. Moscow responded with containment and omission. Official communiqué spoke of an accident, of human error, of measures taken. Legasov's notes, however, revealed something else. Orders to dismantle the telerobot footage, to suppress any mention of temporal anomalies, and to frame the rescue as a heroism narrative. The sarcophagus built over Reactor 4 stopped the outward pulse of radiation, but engineers recorded a low frequency modulation beneath the concrete, an echo that persisted for years. Decades later, in 2016, when the new safe confinement was slid into place, a team led by a Ukrainian physicist named Olena Kovalenko reopened many of the enslaved logs. Small residuals of that original pattern remained, microbes in the exclusion zone that exhibited circadian cycles offset from solar time, an inert metal shard that, under scintillation analysis, produced a decay curve, repeating its signature in looped intervals. The world called it folklore. The scientists called it a residue. Legasov would later present the sober, sanitized version of Chernobyl to a stunned Politburo and to an astonished world. He died in 1988, leaving behind both a report and a private ledger of questions. Today, visitors to the exclusion zone find steel and silence, cranes, and weathered Ferris wheels. Those who worked there still speak in careful metaphors about what they saw, a place where matter learned to hum, where a reactor did not merely break, but briefly sang in time with something beyond ordinary sequence. The state turned the event into lessons and limits. The scientists kept their notebooks, and in the quiet hours when the wind cuts over the sarcophagus, a handful of instruments still pick up a pulse so faint that it might be imagination, so regular that it cannot be ignored. History records the explosion. The margins hold the whisper that, for one terrible Saturday, Chernobyl was not only an accident, but a door.